Well, we are about to have a live stream with Karina on creative writing. So at the moment we are waiting for people to join. Hello everyone. I'm very glad to see you here. Hello, hello. Just a second. Yeah, we are connect. Just hello.
Hi.
Hello. So there's 6 people who joined us at the moment.
Great.
I hope there will be some more. So yeah, just to start off, my name is Anna, and today I'm hosting Karina. Karina is an expert in English teaching, and particularly today we'll be talking about creative writing. Thank you for your likes. That's very warming. So yeah, Karina, thank you. Thank you for joining. Thank you for saying yes to my offer. I was extremely happy. Yeah, and well, if you could just say a couple of words about yourself.
Yes, sorry about, first of all, hello, and hello to everyone. And sorry about all of the movement. I'm just trying to find a good position for light so that you can actually see me. And hopefully this is it. But I might be moving around a little bit. Yeah, so my name is Karina. I am an English language teacher from England. I'm based in London, England, but I spent kind of most, I guess, of my career in China. So I was over there for about 6 years. I've been back in the UK for about 4 years now, and teaching online. So prior to English teaching, my background was in finance, so something very, very different. But teaching,
Oh, wow.
yeah, that's a whole other story. Yeah. And during my time, I took up a master's in digital technologies for language teaching. So looking at teaching and technology and how how technology can enhance the learning experience. Yeah. So what else can I tell you? I actually freelance and I focus on academic English and exam preparation, for example, IELTS. What I'd really like to do is spend all of my time on creative stuff. And this is my kind of first step towards that. And I hope that I can spend more time and put more energy into developing creative reading and creative writing activities. So let's see what happens.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you very much. It does sound like now you've gotten so much of experience, and you are, as far as I'm aware, doing your master's, or you have finished your master's now.
Yes, I finished it now.
Oh, congrats, congrats. And actually, I participated in your project, right?
Yeah.
Like being the part of your course.
Yes.
Right. Why? That was actually one of my first questions. Why have you chosen creative writing online course for language learners in the first place? Why not exam preparation? Or why not just general English one-on-one classes?
Yeah. Yeah, really good. Well, I was inspired during my kind of master studies. Well, I was inspired by all of my modules, but one that I particularly liked was, sorry, my baby's behind me, technology enhanced creative writing for advanced learners. It's a very long title, but it taught us how to teach creative writing. But not only that, it gave us the opportunity to become writers ourselves. And that was really transformational. That was so much fun. And it reminded me, and I had the flashback to the time when I used to read and write as a youngster. I'm talking about in my teens. And
Oh,
yeah, and I went and I had a look and I was like, whoa, I wrote stories and poems. And at some point, I just stopped. And so I think that's kind of something that many of us experience. When we are younger, there's this kind of focus on play, experimentation, um, being creative. But then it's shut down. We're told, okay, time to prepare for exams, time to learn, and then kind of learning stops. So,
exactly.
so from this creative writing experience, I realized and remembered how much I enjoyed it, that it's something that other people could enjoy. And I've been kind of working on a project that will introduce more people, more teachers, English language teachers or language teachers, to incorporating creative reading, creative writing into their practice.
Yeah, that's actually a good point because from my experience, I didn't teach creative writing as much. You know, normally when it comes to teaching English as a foreign language, you normally focus on some general stuff and pretty much things that, well, I would say mostly it's persuasive writing,
Mm.
like essays, letters,
Yes.
maybe some notes, etc. Something that has very practical meaning and it lacks creativity. And unfortunately, yeah, I do have this sense that, creative writing is being overlooked in the whole TEFL thing, right? So,
Yeah.
um,
I
yeah,
agree. I
that's
think
why yeah, I believe it's crucial now to discuss it. And first of all, I would just start off with a question, yeah. Um, what is creative writing? Because some people might be, uncertain
mm-hmm.
whether uh, they know what this is particularly, and then why it is important to teach our students, So, yeah,
Yeah,
to
that's a
the
really good
basics.
question. Well, really good questions. Typically, the teacher in me wants to kind of turn the questions back to my students. Anyone out there who is listening, maybe, I don't know, they can type in the chat, what is creative writing, or what are the elements that make up creative writing? Any ideas? Maybe we can give people some time.
Yeah,
Or what is it not? That can also help.
indeed. So, what is creative writing?
Oh, you're able to put it in the chat.
Yeah, well, I texted it.
Right, in an imaginative way. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yes, absolutely. Imagination, yeah. When I think about creative writing, I think of two main parts, and one of those two is definitely using your imagination. Anything else? Creative writing is storytelling. Absolutely. I agree with that. Stories are fundamental. Stories are our history and our culture. And it's a way that we kind of pass on this historical and cultural knowledge over time. Absolutely. How useful is it? Oh, we're going to come to that. Um, I have some definitions. I have some
Please.
definitions for you from other people, and then I will kind of give my view. So we have a senior lecturer at the Open University here in the UK that says creative writing is a relatively young term, so first arising in the mid-19th century, and one that has come to describe writing typically that's typically fiction or poetry, but also script, which displays imagination or invention, and often contrasted with academic or journalistic writing. So thinking about what it's not academic.
Mm-hmm.
Ken Highland is a kind of an expert in teaching writing to EFL, ESL students, says that creative writing is any fiction or non-fiction that occurs outside everyday professional journalistic, academic and technical forms of writing. So that's kind of very, very broad. And he also said it can also include screenwriting and playwriting, which are texts created to be performed, and as well as creative non-fiction, such as personal and journalistic essays. Someone asked, is creative writing IELTS writing?
Yeah.
In IELTS, in task 2, task 1 and task 2, task 1 we have to write a report. There's no creativity really there. It's to interpret what is in a chart or what is in a graph. I suppose you could say in task 2 you do need to be a little bit creative in your answer.
To make up statistics, yes, and other stuff.
So depending on your topic, you might need to be imaginative. However, that's mostly grounded in your ability, as you were saying earlier, to persuade the reader of a particular viewpoint. So what else can I think I've got another. Okay, Alan Malley, who is another creative writing kind of expert in the English language field, says that creative writing normally refers to the production of texts which have an aesthetic rather than a purely informative or instrumental or pragmatic purpose. It's the result of intuition, close observation, imagination, and personal memories.
Well said.
Yeah, well, that's definitely not me. Those are experts who are giving their definition. For me, I guess I think about it in 2 parts. One, as I already mentioned, was imagination, and the other, the kind of the narrative of a story, or the narrative form, or the format of a story, and that is made up of certain key elements. A story usually has certain things, certain key elements in it. And if you remember back, Anna, to our course, maybe maybe you can
I do.
can you remember, like, what would we expect to see in a typical story?
Well, in a typical story, there must be some conflict, I would say.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. There normally is some protagonist, who's experiencing certain events. Then there's also, characters in general, right? Mm-hmm. Well, but it could be different, but there's still this some action must be happening, right? So, and as well, I would say what is important, that there is good imagery. You know, every story, like we are telling a story, and it's not a report, as you said before. Yeah, so it has to be quite descriptive. And I do love, there's like a couple of rules about creative writing. Show, don't tell.
Yes.
Right, and I believe that's just genius. That's the quintessential thing about creative writing. Yeah,
yes.
And and just not using adverbs. Right, so
okay, now you're going into this kind of very specifics. But if we draw back out to what you had mentioned at the beginning, you were talking about conflict. So in our story, there is some drama, there is some difficulty, there is some obstacle to overcome. And this is what drives the narrative. That's the heart of the story. Some problem and some solution. And you talked about protagonists. Yes, there are usually characters in the story. One or two, that's enough to have a good story. And what else? Other key elements of a story could be the setting or the location, could even be the theme. Maybe it's talking about feminism. Maybe it's talking
Yeah.
about the environment. There could be an underlying theme to your story. Okay, somebody has given us a suggestion. There's background, rising action, climax, falling action, and resolution. Yeah, so you
I
can.
guess that's how it develops, the narration, the
Yeah,
way it develops. Right.
absolutely. Yes. So for me, when I think of creative writing and of a story, there is this format, this structure, and then there is imagination to bring it to life, to make it more original. And what's nice about these things are that both of them can be learnt and practiced and developed. And I think that many people see creative writing as something special. Maybe only talented people can do it. And a lot of people, there's a lot of fear kind of around attempting to write creatively. So understanding like the definition of creative writing, understanding that what that is, breaking it down, I think it shows us that it's something that we can work on and that we can achieve.
Totally. It's like the majority of people are threatened by a blank sheet of paper. And
Mm,
I'm one of them.
mm,
My relationship with writing is quite a complicated story. I managed to train myself to do persuasive writing, like
okay.
essays, letters, whatever. But when I joined your course, I was like, well, I'm not a writer. I don't think I'm talented. Like I'm gonna try it, but I don't think anything will happen. I was just curious. So
And I hope
I'm
that,
one of them.
yes, I'm really glad. I'm really glad. I think somebody asked, is there any literature to read about it?
I think we can make some recommendations, like in the form of a post, like with
Yes,
names and the pictures.
absolutely. I mean, I could just respond generally to say that because I've done a lot of academic reading around this, for sure you can find journals and research papers freely available of other people who have conducted research around creative writing for language learners. And there are textbooks available with ideas. And also I know that individual teachers are creating original material and sharing it. So maybe, as Anna was suggesting, I can, or we can together share some recommendations with you later.
Yeah, I believe that would be perfect.
Yes. What else can I read?
Here.
Ah, so Tim Cott, mentor, started creative writing with her students to make them love writing itself. Absolutely. And I think, we are in this, as I mentioned before, exam-based system that kind of takes the fun out of writing when you have to kind of memorize all of these formulas. And yeah, it's very, very formulaic. And it's not very personal.
Mm-hmm.
And having that freedom can kind of make you fall in love with writing again. I definitely agree.
Yeah. That's brilliant. A good way, yeah, to actually take people like myself, yeah, give them freedom, let them use their imagination, and
Absolutely.
just give a little bit of praise, some encouragement,
Yes.
and then yeah, I totally agree with this. Yeah, there should be some creative element there.
Yeah, there are a lot of benefits. I mean, not just for language learners, but also for language teachers. I think that's what I love about it so much. I mean, for language learners, of course, like the number one benefit is language development, specifically writing. But depending on how you organize your classes, you can also incorporate reading into that. If you set up a discussion, you're also using the other two skills, listening and speaking. Talking about freedom, if you give students like the freedom and the space to play with language, not necessarily follow the rules, that will help them take risks. And we know that risk taking is like fundamental in learning, it's fundamental in language learning, and helps with language acquisition. What else? With the focus kind of like on exams, we tend to use one side of the brain. I think it's the left side of the brain, which is like the logical side
Yeah.
of the brain. But by focusing on creative writing, we can develop the other side, the right side of the brain, and we can kind of tap in to our emotions, we can tap into our intuition. And I think that's good for, generally good for our well-being. What else? Of course, confidence. Um, it can, doing something that is fun, something new, different, challenging, that can increase our self-confidence, or the language learners' self-confidence and their self-esteem. And of course, that just means an increase in motivation in general. And finally, I want to emphasize the connection between reading and writing. Excuse me. So you can definitely increase your reading skills, particularly creative reading strategies, which is what we focused on in our course back in June. So lots and lots of benefits, I think, for language learners. For language teachers, if they take this up, they can there's a certain power in the teacher as a model, and the teacher as like a co-writer. Excuse me. So the teacher is also going through what the student is going through. And I think that can help with motivation. I think it can decrease the distance between the teacher and the student. And
Yeah,
yeah,
sounds
and
like it.
it can deepen that connection. The teacher becomes more interesting to the student, right? And of course, it's a good way to boost your own language skills. You can kind of expand your vocabulary, the expressions that you use. You can become aware of different topics. And I think that, of course, it can help teachers become better teachers of writing. So really, there's a lot to gain. And I can see Tim Cott has suggested to combine with drawing. Absolutely, absolutely. And actually, I have organized a little mini course, which I'll talk about later. And I've started to think about how we can be visual and maybe focus on visual note taking to help us in the kind of reading and writing process. So yeah, I totally agree with that. So I've spoken a lot. Have I convinced the teachers out there who are new to this concept that they could maybe try out or even learn more about creative writing?
I believe so. Yeah, share with us. What do you think about incorporating creative writing into your routine? Well, and I've got also one more question.
Yes, of
You
course, of course.
emphasize the connection, between reading and writing.
Yeah.
So, and the question is it even possible to start writing well if you don't read?
That's a really good question. I think it's definitely possible to get started. You can put pen to paper, but I think that there's a lot to gain from reading. If I was talking about what is creative writing, and you've got the elements of creative writing and you've got imagination. Part of that is inspiration from reading literature. It is a model in itself of how to write. You can see what works and maybe what doesn't work. You can see what you like, what styles you like. What style that appeals to you, and what elements that you might want to incorporate into your own writing. So I think that there are many things that we can do before we write. If we think about the writing process, sitting down and actually writing is probably at the end.
Yeah.
You want to generate ideas. You want to develop your ideas before you get to that writing stage. So I definitely put reading in there as well for inspiration. A question. Oh, hello. Is that Bassam? Is there?
Some words of praise.
Yes. What was I going to say? Oh, that's it. I was going to ask you guys, do you read? Does the audience read?
Come on, they're teachers. They must.
Well,
They
no,
must
they
be
do
reading
read, but do
well.
they read for enjoyment, not just because, they have to or for their job, but do you do it for pleasure?
Yeah, I constantly see posts on Instagram like, oh, I've got so many books I want to read desperately, but
Yeah,
I just have not got no time.
absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, even I struggle with it. It's something that I want to do, which is to read more. And again, going back to the course that we did together, originally the plan was, or the idea was, okay, we're going to read a short story and write a short story. But I realized that maybe we are not all there yet. We're not all ready to write this complete, fantastic story, that we need to actually do other things to prepare ourselves, to put ourselves in the best position to do that. And again, so we look back to reading and how much value there is there.
Totally. So one inspired teacher says that a lot of my students struggle with writing, and I guess using techniques of creative writing can help reduce stress then. Yeah.
I agree. I actually we've been talking about stories, but we can also include poetry in there. And I am a member of a poetry group, but I haven't participated for a long time. First of all, because I just had a baby, but we also had the pandemic. But I found poetry writing so challenging, but so therapeutic. Trying to or attempting to put down exactly what you think in its purest form is, yeah, I think it's very, very therapeutic. And as SK Lima English teacher mentioned, it can help to reduce stress. Yeah, yeah. I definitely felt relaxed after my poetry sessions.
Yeah, are we talking only about writing in foreign languages or writing in general?
Well, I guess I think many of you are teachers and English language teachers. So in that sense, we're talking about writing in foreign languages. But for sure, you can write creatively in your own language and receive these benefits. It's really a choice what you choose to do. I guess I just want to encourage you to do it in some way.
The imagination part and narrative part still develops, right? So
Yes, yeah,
they both develop.
yes. Someone else said writing is a production process, and to have a production, it's necessary to get input. Absolutely. It's, yeah, I think you mentioned before, Anna, like staring at a blank page and not having a clue about what to do. So it's great to get inspiration from somewhere, and that could be just by doing something different. It could be just from going for a walk, overhearing a conversation, talking to someone you don't usually talk to, reading about a topic, a new topic, all of these, let's say, just slightly different things can spark an idea for a piece of creative writing.
Absolutely. We're keeping blogs. It's also creative writing. Indeed, indeed.
I agree. I agree. I have two. I have one about teaching and technology, and then I have one for creative writing under the Share Your Story with Confidence name. And absolutely, I agree that blogging can be really powerful for helping you to practice writing, to write regularly, to write with an audience in mind, and to possibly get feedback if you make your posts open to comments, right? So, and I think it could be a great motivation if people do, read your blog and make comments on it. It could really motivate you to keep going. So yeah, I'm a big fan of writing a blog to help with your writing skills.
And moreover, it could inspire others as well, because they see, well, she's just a girl just like myself. She's writing this. Well, I might as well try. That's what I did at some point.
Yes.
As I said before, my relationship with writing, is quite a complicated story.
Yes.
But could you just then tell us about your community on Facebook? Yeah, I'm also a part of it. Share your story with confidence, it's called.
Yes, another really long title. So kind of following on my experience doing my master's, I was inspired by that creative writing module, and I wanted to develop that idea to kind of develop a project. And so I set up this community, and our focus is on reading, writing, and positive thinking. And the idea is that if we read more, if we practice writing to an audience, so that's within our community, get some comments, get some feedback, and if we are able to kind of shift our minds, our mindsets, and think positively about what we're doing, that can help us to share our stories with confidence. Everyone, you know, has a story to tell. It's how we understand the world. You know, each story is unique. And I'm just trying to encourage people to, well, to share their story. And I've organized some activities, or I'm organizing some activities around that. We've just started with a monthly webinar. The first one, I think, was just a couple of weeks ago, focusing on Creole English. It was in celebration of Black History Month here in the UK. And we were looking at how the English language, well, has been spread all around the world, but particularly in the Caribbean, how it's has kind of infused the indigenous and local languages and kind of come up with its own kind of vocabulary and expressions. So there's a monthly webinar or monthly live workshop that I'm organizing. That's free to join. And I've also started to develop mini courses. The first mini course is coming up not this Monday, but the following Monday. Taken from our learnings from the course we did together and how important creative reading is. It's a 5-day mini course, email course, focusing on developing creative reading strategies, looking at visual note-taking, and the idea is that you can take what you've learned in just a few hours and apply it to your own writing. If anybody is interested in that creative reading mini course, I've got the link, I think, in my bio. Just check out Share Your Story with Confidence. It would be great to see you guys there. What else? I am also looking to launch one more project. I want to focus on or learn more about digital tools that we can use for creative writing. And I'm going to look for people to help me test out the tools that are out there, and let's see if we can find like the best technology to enhance our creative writing.
Oh, and how did you feel about the platform that you launched your first course, you know, on that we used in our course, with the participant of which I was?
Oh, so are you talking about the Moodle platform? Is that what you mean?
I think it was different. It's like ICT for everyone,
Yes,
something like
yes,
that. They
yes.
posted all the materials.
Okay, so yeah, that platform, it's Moodle based, so which is it's an open source platform, and it was set up by my tutor, and he hosts free courses there. I don't know if they have done anything recently. Our course was there in June. I will definitely ask him if he's going to host any more free courses. I can definitely share that information with you. And I'll definitely let you know if I'm doing the same.
For sure, yeah, that would be amazing. You mentioned your mini course.
Yes.
Is it done via email?
Yes. So I'm just thinking about the fact that everyone is so busy and they don't have much time to join a full course. You know, our course together was 4 weeks. So I thought I would design something that's much smaller, that can be done at any time, really. It's going to be 5 hours, 5 emails, 5 PDFs with tasks. You will read a story. You will apply some reading strategies to that. There'll be some visual note taking, and you will be encouraged to write. So,
Wow.
yes, and if you sign up by next Friday, I'm offering a bonus kind of one-to-one session with me. It will be great to get your kind of feedback, understand your experience, what you learned, and if in what ways you want to kind of develop your creative reading and writing skills. It isn't a free. I know that I offer a lot of free stuff, but it is at a very affordable price. It's just $40. So I think that it's a no-brainer if you're interested in this sort of thing.
Beautiful. Yeah, we'll definitely have a look at it and take part as well. So, oh, I'm sorry. I'm going through, quarantine time,
Oh,
sitting at
yes,
home.
yes.
I'm COVID positive, unfortunately, but I'm getting better. Yeah.
Good, good.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say that. So, and when do you launch it actually?
So the
When is
date,
the date?
yeah, really good. So it will start on Monday, the 16th of November. So not this Monday, but the following. And if you want to get that bonus session with me, it will, I think the deadline for that will be on Friday, Friday the 13th. If you make your payment before then, we can organize a one-to-one together.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Someone
Well,
has
also mention it.
Someone has mentioned about teaching reading. Yes. Yeah,
That would be
absolutely.
good.
Maybe after the little mini course, because that is also focused on reading strategies. But there's lots to talk about in terms of reading as well.
Oh, for sure. And some people were also interested in the following. Since we already emphasized the fact that our course books normally do not focus and emphasize creative writing as much, but we still more or less follow, the course book that we choose.
Yes.
How do you think it is possible to incorporate creative writing, teaching creative writing, like in our routine, like teaching routine?
Yeah, a really good point. There isn't much time in the typical curriculum to add something new. I think the best way is to keep it really simple, short and simple. A really simple activity could be a free writing activity, where you give students the time, the space. It could be even 5 minutes to just stop, switch off, from whatever the focus of the lesson was, and to write freely for a certain amount of time. You can even play some relaxing music in the background. You can allow them to write about whatever they want, or you can gently direct them by writing one word on the board, or asking them to think about one feeling and to write about that feeling, just keeping it very short and simple. So free writing could be a good way to go. Another simple...
And some simple prompts, yeah?
Yeah, a very simple prompt, exactly. Another idea could be to look at some very short text. For example, a poem or poetry. Even shorter than short stories are flash fiction. Have you heard about flash fiction?
Yeah,
So that's even
actually,
shorter.
I've got one student who I'm actually focusing on creative writing with. Well, he's an adult and he's learning English only for his pleasure. And that's what we discovered, like he's really good at writing. So I said, why don't we try it? And he did a couple of short stories. And naturally, they're not long. They're less than 1,000 words.
Right.
So, and I discovered what flash fiction is.
Brilliant.
Because I was not aware of it before, And if you can comment on it a little bit more. Thank you, Basem. I'm getting better. I'm recovering. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my other suggestion was simply to look at, read and discuss some very short fiction, like a poem, like flash fiction, and it could be related to the theme of your or the topic of your lesson. Maybe it's What could it be about? I already mentioned the environment, but it could be, you know, it could be about the environment, it could be about family, it could be about relationships, and you could find something very, very short that could be discussed, and that could be a nice entry point into incorporating creative writing, and not really requiring a lot of resources, not requiring a lot of time. And in fact, the interpretation of the poem is or can be subjective. So there's no right or wrong, you know, how do you feel about the poem, or what do you understand about it? And I think that a lot of discussion can be generated, you know, even from a very, very short text.
Absolutely, yeah, totally.
So those are just two really
Beautiful.
simple ideas for you guys to get started.
Yeah. So, and you know, what if I, as a teacher, I decided to devote the entire class to creative writing. So let's say, well, today that's the point, that's the goal, that's the main objective. So I've got my hour, let's say, that I can spend on it. What would be, you know, maybe an ideal way or quite a universal way to structure a lesson like this? You
Ooh,
know, maybe.
that's huge. That's really
Well,
how
maybe something pops up in your mind right
yes.
away.
I always want to go back to the student, to the participant. What do they know? What is their current knowledge? And I also want to use technology. So the first thing that comes to mind would be some sort of research on what is creative writing, where did it come from, what does it mean? I would ask some kind of like fundamental questions. In fact, the questions that we were learning, we're talking about today, what can be gained from it, and let them have this kind of background knowledge of what creative writing is. Today, another kind of really popular form is spoken word, which is related to poetry. And that could be a really nice way, another nice way to introduce creative writing. That's almost creative speaking, but you could have the students search for some kind of spoken word videos and have a look at what they are talking about. What they are talking about are the hot topics of the day. What they are talking about is important to those people. They tend to be young people. So that could be, maybe that would be like my first thought in terms of introducing, in terms of developing a 1 hour creative writing lesson. That's not, but there are so many different ways.
Of course, of course. It
But
was
yeah,
just yeah, like how you right away, you know, can envision it.
yeah.
Visualize. Yeah. Okay. Well, um, so what we have covered, yeah, is what creative writing is, what benefits both students as well as teachers have while doing it. Yeah. We also heard, like, you know, like the brief introduction to your community, which is share your story with confidence. And in the description to this video, I guess we're going to attach like a link to your group, so that
Absolutely.
I'm sure some people will find it absolutely, you know, a special experience and a pleasurable experience to be part of such a community. Yes, so we also looked at your the upcoming mini course of yours, yeah. So some information is in your profile, and we'll also put it under the video in the description. Yeah. So, and also your suggestions, like a brief ones into how to introduce creative writing to students.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's, I believe we managed to cover
Oh,
quite a lot,
yeah.
right? So if you guys have any questions, that we've got about 5 minutes to maybe do the Q&A. But you know, it's Saturday night, so naturally not so many people could attend. But you know, I got quite a lot of messages saying that please save the recording.
Yes, yes,
I'll post it later. We'll watch it later. So
yes.
we're experiencing some feedback even after
Perfect.
the stream.
Well, I mean, I've really enjoyed being here. Thank you so much for the invitation.
Thank you for coming.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And I'll be happy to come back anytime. Thanks to the audience members for your comments and for your questions. And even after the live, if you have more comments or questions for either of us, we're both here. And yeah, feel free to reach out.
Yeah, I'll be there for you. Thank you, thank you.
And also, I think this is my first live, so that's amazing. Thank
Ooh,
you.
congratulations.
Yeah, wow. So this is
You
a
did
live.
well.
Yeah. Brilliant.
Thank you very much. Thank you for participating. Team Court is actually could be, well, this is an abbreviation for teaching is my cup of tea. That's what I know.
Wow, like it. I love
Yes.
it. Yeah,
Thanks, everyone.
I love teaching too. And I hope, talking about blogging, we were talking about blogging before as well, that I want to kind of write more and share more posts, you know, particularly around creative reading, creative writing for language learners. I'm sure that there are many resources kind of out there, but I don't think it's the most popular one. So I'm going to try to kind of curate and bring together like the most useful and the most recent like research and discussion on this topic.
That would be very, very helpful. It is the name of my teddy bear assistant. How very sweet.
Yeah, and
all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what were you saying?
No, I was going to say if the participants here, if the audience, if they have suggestions for the next session. I see someone said that they are waiting for the next session, and I know someone has suggested talking about teaching reading, and yeah, I can definitely come back again and talk about a different aspect of this area.
You know, even when it comes to creative writing, probably it should be discussed, you know, in the form of how to organize it actually, right? So let's say we could focus on a particular age group, maybe, yeah, and then see how a lesson plan could be organized and structured.
That sounds good.
Acronyms, by the way, could be a good prompt.
Absolutely.
Indeed. Yes. Indeed. Hooray. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. You're the best audience. You're the best guest. I'm so happy I spent my Saturday like this.
Thank you.
And say hello to your baby, Cara.
I will, yes. She's next door. I'm going to go and give her a big kiss now.
All right. We are not keeping you any longer. Thank you very much. And yeah.
See you soon. Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much. Bye.
See you.
Kisses. Besos.
Bye.